Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda. I'm not doing an American salute there, it's just that the sun's in my eyes. I'm up in the Tiki Tunnel 1, and I'm looking at doing some beans, some French beans, climbing beans tonight, starting them off. They're the saved seeds that we got from last year's crop. They've just been kept in a dry place to dry off, and they've preserved themselves since last year. Now it's a bit late to start off the beans, but I've got every faith that come September, early October, we should start pulling the beans off. You're supposed to start them sort of like April, May time, so we're a little bit late. We're about 6 weeks late really starting these off, but this should be okay. I think they'll be alright. We've been tending to get sort of Indian summers of late into September and October, so should be alright. We'll get a crop off them, fingers crossed. But yeah, so that's today. Let's crack on. Alright guys and girls, so as I say, we're up in the Tiki Tunnel number 1, the big 10-foot trampoline framed Tiki Tunnel. And we've got some beans to sow, so this is how they come. So they're in the pod saved, as I say, from last year. And in the middle of these pods, I'm hoping to find about 3. Magic beans, Jenny, magic beans. Which there is. Which there are. Nestling inside the pod. And so I'm just checking them just to see if there's any mould got to them or any sort of damage got to the bean while it's been in storage within its pot. In its pod. And it looks like they're in decent nick. Now I've already got 8 there. So yeah, I'm just checking them over, making sure that there isn't any mould on them. They look okay. I want at least 12 that I can sow into the seed trays. And I think we could easily do that, he says. So at least 12 of a decent quality. Yeah. So if you see that, that's got part of its shell already off, and that's probably not going to grow into a plant. So we'll discard that. I've discarded about 4 or 5, tell you the truth, at the size there. That's an unfortunate one as well, that's done the same. But yeah, we should be alright with the rest of them. So there's 4. Look at that. Just 12 we've got. Just 12. Alright, so now if we get 10 from that, I'll be happy with that. If we get 10 plants coming from these saved seeds. But you never know, last year we planted I think 24 of them. And all of them came through. We sowed 24 of them, and they all came through the trays. So you never know. Fingers crossed, you might get that kind of a result. So we'll get 12 plants out of them. And off each plant, you tend to get 30 or 40 actual seed pods that grow on them, with about 6 to 8 beans inside them on the longer pods, the ones you leave on. Or you can take them young and you can have them as fine French beans. So that's what we're going to be doing. Right, so I'm just going to get myself a tray. A little 12-cell seed tray. Like this. I'll do my seed mix. And I'll show you that. And then we'll get these into there and get them off and running. I might even start a few peas as well. Although I might not actually. I might do the beetroot today. In fact, I will do the beetroot today. I'm going to do 36 beetroot starts as well. So we'll get these in first. Get these off and going. And jobs are good. Alright. So that's your sort of standard shop bought compost. It's actually what was left from a tomato grow bag that I found in one of the sheds. It was like a quarter full, that tomato grow bag. And so that's what was left in there. I just tipped it in there. Doesn't particularly matter. And it doesn't have to be sieved or anything, this. But we will be aerating the soil to help the root systems by putting some vermiculite in. I was looking for some perlite, but I can't find. Oh, there it is. Found the flaming perlite now. We'll do a mixture of perlite and vermiculite. Now Joe swears by doing a sort of 50-50 mix of the perlite and the soil. But I'm not that brave. I do a kind of 20-80 mix. 20% perlite. Or in this case perlite and vermiculite. And about 80% soil. But each to his own, you know. The wise old elf always gets good results. In fact, I think I will add a bit more. I'll add a bit more in. Just for the sake of our Joseph. Right, that's more like 30% now. More like 30% perlite. And 70% soil, isn't it? I'd say. And just integrate it. You don't put any feed in with them at this stage, because there should be enough really in the seed itself to get it off and running. Enough energy in the seed itself. And it'll be picking a little bit up from the actual compost as well. It'll be picking a bit of nutrition from the compost that's there. But not too much. Because when they're babies, you don't want to overfeed the babies. Because otherwise they'll actually become weak. And the root systems won't be rooting to seek out more nutrition. You want them root balls to be quite robust, you know. And fill out the pots that you're putting them in. And then they can carry on. You want the roots to get the idea that they need to search, they need to spread their wings underground and search for that nutrition. You give them too much nutrition, they don't need to grow, and then when you put them outside, they become weak. The root system isn't established enough to cope with real life. Alright, so that's just basically our mix. Put my tray in, fill my tray up. I like a well-filled cell. Like that. And then with my little pinky finger, I just go in the middle, down to that first knuckle, which is about 1 inch deep, in every cell. So it's not an exact science. With these sorts of beans, you want them a good inch below ground level, really. And you need to protect them on an allotment plot. You need to protect them from the measly mice till they get established. So we're going to be putting them into our coal frames over there. I'm tempted to put one of the coal frames actually outside because of the temperatures at the moment. It's quite late in the season, and the temperatures are around about, I don't know, in here it's probably going to be about 24 degrees at the moment. So I might well take the coal frame and put it, in fact I will, I'll take the coal frame and I'll probably put it outside with these ones, because the mice will come in and they'll dig up your seeds. When the moisture gets to the seeds and they crack and they start opening up and they soften up, the mice have this sort of innate sense for that, and Mr. Mouse will know that there's a seed, he'll know that there's a dinner underneath there, and he'll dig them up and he'll eat them, and then you'll have no beans then. you'll have no bean plant. Alright, so that's that. We know that these are we're going to call them elf beans, these. Elf beans. Because they were originally grown on Joe Lowe's plot, who is the wise old elf of Rivendell. And his plot's next door to our plot. He's the neighbour to the left-hand side as you look at the plot from the front. Whereas Magical McDerbyshire is the neighbour to the right-hand side as you look at the plot from the front. So we'll call these elf beans. If my pen works, which it's not doing. Yeah, it is. Elf beans. And it's the 11th. No, it's not, it's the 12th. Of the 6th. 24. Elf beans. 12th of the 6th. 24. So we know when they were started off and what they are. Alright guys, so in there you go. That's that done. I'll get on with the beetroot now. As I say, I'm going to do 36 beetroot. And I have just the trays to do them in. Catch you in a minute. Alright. So beets next. The beetroot. Now I'll show you the difference in seeds. It's a broad church, the plant world. Especially when you're looking at seeds. If you imagine the plants are all, if they're not in the same family anyway, they're all different, aren't they? They're different sorts of flowers, different sorts of leaf, different sorts of growth, height, width, girth, and all the rest of it. And seeds are no exception to that, because the seeds are very much different for beetroot in appearance than they are for the French climbing beans we've just seen a second or two ago. So let me just show you the seed. What have I done with it? There they are. Now, whereas the beans are obviously kind of bean shaped, these are not. These are like two crowns back to back. I don't know if you'll be able to even pick this up on camera, but looks like two crowns back to back. These pelleted seeds. Same principle though. Get your finger, in it goes. I'm using the bigger finger for this one, the index finger, for no particular reason, apart from I'm a maverick and I like variety. And there you go. I just got a couple. Now I tend to put a couple of seeds in because you're saving space really. When you don't get as big of a beetroot when you cluster plant them, but you do get more beetroot. And we tend to do quite well with beetroot. But what I want is a sort of a golf ball to tennis ball size. Somewhere in between a golf ball and a tennis ball in size on my beetroots. And because I'm cluster planting, what that means cluster planting is that we're putting more than one seed in. So in each one of these cells there'll be 2 to 3 seeds going into the... So I just get a pinch of seeds and I drop them in. When I say pinch, it can be 2 to 3 going into each one of the cells. And as they grow, they'll push away from each other. The foliage will push away as well, and you should get 2 to 3 beetroot per plant, if you like, or per planting station. when they mature. Got 3 left there. You get low, you get about 200 seeds in one of them little packs. I want to overcrowd them, but yeah. So there's 2 to 3, occasionally 4 in each one of those cells. So altogether, because we've had 36 cells that we're doing it the way that I've done it, we should get around about 100 or even a little bit more than 100 beetroots on the back end of it. And because they're planted closely together or cluster planted like that, each plant's probably going to take up only around about a foot or so, a square foot, if you do the square foot method. It's only going to take up about a square foot of growing room, but you'll have 3 beetroots, if you like, on the back of that. More bang for your buck. You get me? I'll label them up and we'll get them in the watering tray. And there they are. I've chosen not to put them outside. I'm just going to leave the door open, I think, in here and leave them in there. Because this weighs a ton and I've got a glass back at the moment. And I don't fancy manipulating and manhandling that to the other side of the plot, because I've got really bad joints at the minute. I'm not very well. So there you go. But they're all in there. There's about 1 inch of water in there because I'm going to only be coming back on Friday night, and that should be enough then for it to absorb through capillary action the moisture into the soil, get the seeds started off, and away we go. That should suck it up, and then if I come back in half an hour, that should be damp, I'll bet, that soil, because it'll draw it up through the compost and moisturise the soil and kick the seeds off, hopefully, over the next couple of days. But yeah, in about a week or so's time, they should all be up then, this time of year. So it's not too late to get the starts off and running, which is lucky, really, because we're late getting the starts off and running this year. Now I'm in the brassica cage, the big brassica cage, and I think I've discovered what I believe to be a molehill. Because it's not coming from these pots. That's a molehill, I think. I think a mole's dug it. Either a mole or a rat or something has burrowed its way in there and disturbed the soil, brought it to the surface. Because it's not from these pots, these potato buckets. Definitely not. That's some critter that's burrowed in. Doesn't seem to have done any damage while it's been in here, but moles. Never had moles on here before. They get moles down at the bottom end there, down at the valley end. Brenda's always going on about moles, but I've never noticed a mole on here. Could be a rat, but it's burrowed in. I saw before actually that something had been trying to burrow in on the outside here. Where was it now? There. Looks like something's tried to burrow in. Dig its way in. But yeah, that's a definite molehill for me, that. Look at the growth in here. Again, I've not harvested. I need to harvest them pak chai. Definitely need to harvest them. Because they're all bolting. That's already bolted, the spinach. Isn't it? Still edible. No wrong with it. But the ones that I'd left in the cells and hadn't planted up, they're all the same. They've bolted. Because I didn't have anywhere to put them. Hey, let's have a look at our broccoli. There's one. There's another at the back here, wasn't there? Last time. Yeah, that's got bigger. Weekend I'll be checking them. I'll be taking them off this weekend. Any more coming up? Yeah, it's just starting. They'll head up like that, and then they'll pop through the broccoli. See that little one there in the middle? These should all be coming through the next couple of weeks. That's the purple sprouting broccoli down there, which shouldn't come through for another month or so, really, yeah. Month or two. It comes up autumn time, really, the purple sprouting, into winter. But you get lots of different stems coming off from that, shoots coming off. I might have to take these potatoes and put them outside because it's getting properly crowded. I mean, that's a 2.5 foot gap there between the beds, and if you look at that, it's full of vegetation in here, absolutely chock-a-block with it. There's the cabbages. There'll be another month yet before they're ready for taking. These are cabbages here. These are all cauliflower, 2 different types of cauliflower, and your spinach, and of course tons of kale. The kale is the plant that just keeps giving. But I need to get that harvested, and I need to get some of that out and bag it up and freeze it and give it away, because we've got far too much of that. It'll last for ages, that'll just keep growing and I can keep taking it off. But I want to start harvesting some of the young leaf. Well, it's in perfect nick, isn't it? It's in good nick, and there are no whitefly on it at this time of year. Another month or two you'll be getting whitefly on, which doesn't particularly do much to the plant, but it just looks unsightly, and you have to sort it out and wash it all off and that. It is detrimental to the leaf, but it's not as bad by any stretch of the imagination than cabbage white butterflies are. Just beginning to start heading, these cabbages. I've not done any red cabbages this year. I've only done the sort of green, the green cabbage. But yeah, plenty of sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, coleslaw, soup, you name it. Cabbage. It's a good staple cabbage, good staple crop. Part of the brassica family as well, the cabbage. So it's very good in the phytonutrients and anti-cancer properties that you get with that. Beta carotenes and all that kind of thing. Here's the tomatoes and cucumbers. Cucumbers are growing a bit, and the tomatoes are as well. I might have to put some more tape on. I will do. I'll put some more tape on these and let them run, because I want to single stem these up to the top. So yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, so just adding some more tapes onto these, and in that way they'll run up the canes. And as I get side shoots coming off, I'm just looking for side shoots now. I think I got them all last time, but there's a little one coming. That little side shoot. You pinch them out as they come. There's a couple more down there, look. Just keep pinching them out, because they'll bush out and go that way, and I don't want them bushing out and going that way. I want it all running up there and then get the flowers coming off, so we can keep them neat, tidy and orderly for picking. You can bush them, you can let them bush out, but it tends to send up energy into the growth of the foliage rather than sending energy into the fruit where you want it. You want it in the fruit, so the plant can concentrate on drawing up the nutrition and send it where it needs to send it, which is into your fruiting ends, your fruiting stations, the flowers basically. So keeping them down. If you do miss one, you can always make another tomato plant out of it, because they will turn into another tomato plant. Take them off and pot them on when they get about 6 inches long, and you'll get another tomato plant. What's the cucumbers looking like? How are they looking? They're looking okay. getting little cukes coming on. Oh, every single time that. Every time. I whack my head on it like a fool. Every single time. Yeah. There's the cukes coming on. Give them 2 weeks and they'll be proper big cucumbers. Ready to harvest. Of course, where the flowers come, later the fruit shall come when it gets pollinated. What's that? Some sort of critter's got to that. On the whole, they're looking okay, but if you look there, there's plenty of flowers that are going to be coming there. And that's going to be the cucumbers. So that really needs taking up there in that direction, doesn't it? Which I will do. Anyway, let's check on the spuds. Now this is our big potato bed up at the top, next door to Tiki Tunnel number 1. I'll just have a walk down here and get these weeds out that I've just spotted while we're here. A simple procedure. We're all about the aesthetics on this allotment plot. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Aesthetically pleasing to the eye. And they always say if you don't walk past a weed, pick it up, which is what I am doing. You have to keep on top of them. When I've not kept on top of the weeds, it's driven me to distraction because the plot ends up overgrown with weeds, and I end up getting letters off the committee saying you're a scruffy get, sort your plot out. But littling off then I found works. These are all the Maris Piper potatoes, the main croppers that are in here, and I think altogether there was three per row, and there are 15 rows. There's 45 seed potatoes in this bed, and on the back end of that we want to get about 450 to 600 potatoes out, and we should do, because that's what we usually get, which equates then to around about 150 pounds in weight of spuds out of these beds, these big beds, which is a little bit under, well, around about 3 meters, about 1 meter, sorry, wide, by about, I think it's 7 meters. Is it? No, it's not, is it? About 5 meters, about 1 by 5 meters. It is that. Yeah. Around about 17 feet long by about 3 and a bit meters wide. And as I say, I'm keeping on top of the weeds and all that kind of thing. These 3 at the end, I believe, were new potatoes. I think these are Ulster Prince. These at the front, and all the rest were Maris Piper spuds. So they're doing okay there. The spuds in the buckets are doing fine outside and inside the brassica tent. These are all new potatoes, various varieties of new potatoes. Got the onions and garlic there as well. I'll just show you the spuds, and then what we'll do is we'll have a look and see what the garlic's like underneath there, because I'm getting a bit of rust on the leaves. So I'll need to take them anyway in a bit. They were only planted in about 3 weeks ago. These are late ones, but they are early potatoes that went in there. They'll be like late earlies or whatever, and the cat's been on them. The cat seems to like the potato beds. Nothing showing on that one, but then again they were 2 weeks ago and they're buried quite deeply down them as well, the ones that are in there. These are the Charlotte. I think we've got Charlotte and we've got Saxon. Saxon on that side and Charlotte I think on this side, is it? Yeah, Charlotte. That's a split bed. And in that bed they're all I think they're all Saxon in there as well, in this bed. And they again were planted about 3 weeks ago. So I'm not expecting them, well, about 2 weeks ago, them ones. They were about 3 weeks ago, and they're all popping through. They were about 2 weeks ago. And so what we'll do with this successional planting that we've done on the plots is we'll have successional cropping or harvesting of the potatoes, which is what I want. So in about a month's time, they're going to be ready for coming out, the ones in the buckets, in about a month. So we'll say mid-July, yeah, for them ones. Because they're all quite late when I planted them. They're about 4 weeks after they should have been planted, really. I should be harvesting my first earlies around about now, to be honest with you, but I left it a bit late. But they'll be about another month. And then the other ones will be around 4 to 8 weeks after that. Then they'll be coming through. Same with the main croppers. Them main croppers will be harvested in about 2 months' time, so that'll be like mid-August. Mid to late August, really, for them ones. But we should have potatoes coming successionally all the way up to about November. And I might well leave, like I did last year, I might well leave some in the ground and have them, dig them up over winter. Because they did alright. They did alright last year. I only had about 20% loss. I mean, we were still eating spuds that we were taking out of the ground about... Well, the last lot were taken out about 3 weeks ago that had been left in the ground. And we got about 7 or 8 pounds in spuds then, and that was the last of them. And we're talking 6 months into the new year now. If I'd have started the first earlies at the correct time, and they'd be ready for harvesting now, we'd have had practically a year's worth of potatoes, constant spuds coming off the plot. Because you can store potatoes, obviously, if you store them correctly, which we're going to show you in a later episode, how to store the potatoes. If you store them correctly, they can last for months. And that'll take you through that winter period. If you are looking at sustainability and actually being able to provide food for yourself and your family long term, that's the way to look at it, really. You've got to be looking at that, to have that starchy goodness all the way through the winter months and into the new growing season. Hopefully you can have enough food to tide you over. Enough carbohydrate from the potatoes. And vitamin C. Twice as much vitamin C in the humble potato than there is in an apple. So it's not that bad for you, spuds. As carbs go, spuds is your best bet. Yeah, so here's the garlic bed. And you can see this stuff. It's rust, and it's a kind of airborne fungus. So they all get it every year, and they get it when it's coming time, really, for harvesting. It's close to luckily it's close to the time when it's for harvesting. So what we want to do is have a quick look round at the bottom here. Right, is that an onion? Have I been mistaken there? I think that's an onion, isn't it? Yeah, must be an onion. Unless it's just not split over winter. Sometimes they don't split. I'm not sure really, because I think these are garlic, you know, or they should be garlic. But maybe they haven't split. To get that splittage in the bulb, you need a pretty hard frost. And we didn't really have a particularly hard frost over winter. Because that's what causes the segmentation, the splitting of the bulb. Into the cloves, you know. Curious. That one doesn't look too bad, does it? Or too good, rather. Yeah. They're like single bulbs of garlic. You've not got that segmentation. There'll be a bit of segmentation, boys and girls, but not as defined by the look of it as you usually get with garlic. And that's because of the mild winter. Some people put them in the fridge or the freezer, I believe, for a bit before they plant them, and they swear by that. The old guy up at the top, Barry, he used to swear by that. He used to grow elephant garlic in, which is more towards the leek side of the family than the garlic side, to be honest. It's like a bulb leek rather than a garlic. Although you do get pups off it and things like that. It is a sort of hybrid type of thing, elephant garlic, I believe. But you get the big bulbs off that. But we have got plenty of garlic. I think we've got 60 garlic plants. And lots of bulbs coming off from them. See what that little baby one's like. See if it's actually doing. Yeah, it has got something there. You have got garlic, even though it's a baby one. So yeah, probably this weekend I'll start taking these up, or maybe I might leave it. See how the leaves look. Because you are getting scapes coming off them. Scapes are obviously the seed stalk that comes up the middle of them. Which does tend to sort of stunt the growth of the bulb if you don't take them out. You might as well take them out, essentially, when you get to be bolting like that. See them? That's it. You can eat them. You can eat them. I pulled a few off the last time I was down, actually, and they're here. And I should have took them home and put them in a stir fry or something, but I didn't. I forgot. But yeah, these scapes are what comes off from the onions and the garlic. And it's the seed pod, basically. It's the flower head there. If you nip them out early enough, then the energy can continue to swell the bulbs. Like it's done with these onions, you know. Yeah, I'm sure this is the garlic from here, that way, and these are the onions from here. These are the overwintering onions, the sensu. Yeah, and these are the Centurion, I believe, which were the summer ones that I planted. And I only planted them in about 2 months ago. And they'll be ready in about another 2 months' time, something like that, if they don't all bolt. But none of them have started to bolt, fingers crossed, at the moment. But yeah, those are the summer onions, and these are the overwintered onions. And these are the garlic, Casablanca garlic. Looking good, isn't it? I'm going to take some of these broad beans. I'll have these for my tea tonight, I think. Twist them off. You're supposed to use 2 hands, actually, but I haven't got 2 hands. Look at these black fly all over them, these aphids. Horrible creatures, look at them. I don't like using insecticides though, so I was hoping that the ladybirds would have found these, but they haven't. Look at that. Dirty little beasts. Enough for a small meal there, methinks. And that's what it's all about. You do it for the good of your health, literally. You can't get fresher than that in half an hour. That'll be in my stomach. So keep growing your heads down, as it says there, up there on the plaque. And I'll see you next week. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. It'll probably actually not be next week. It'll be either Friday or Saturday this week, on the weekend. So take care of yourselves and each other. Keep growing your heads down. Remember, we love you all. Tatty bye from Eden. Guru out.